Hello, welcome. This is WAOSP. You're speaking live here for episode 2 of All Over Sports. I am Smooth Voice James. I'm about to bring you what's going on from yesterday's UFC 240. Chris Cyborg defeats Felicia Spencer in a hell of a battle. Max Holloway actually defeats Frankie, Edgar, the legendary man, legendary teacher I like to call him. And that'll be all for today. Fuck it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. We are live here, boy. Woo. Episode 2, All Over Sports. I'm here with my guest, reoccurring guest, Kevin. Talk to him.
What is good? Episode 2. Excited. Let's go. Let's get it.
You already know. You know what it is. Hey, Armando, talk to him.
What's up? This is Armando.
This is my
First podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
My podcast virginity here.
Yeah, new guest right here, MMA man. He knows a lot about the MMA sport, MMA world. So, as no further ado, just do it. All right, hear you, man. Chill. I hear you, man. Chill. As we proceed, I'm here to ask y'all a question. What'd you guys think about 240 last night? Chris Cyborg versus Spencer.
Hey, man, what a time for me to say that boxing isn't as exciting as UFC, because we had knockouts in boxing, and then UFC had that, the main event was okay.
Oh, yeah. Or underwhelming.
Underwhelming,
I agree.
And then, the best fight, I guess, was the girl fight, right?
Yeah, Chris Cyborg. Armand, what was your view on it?
This was, you said this fight card was underwhelming?
For me, it was, because we were talking about... It was, right? Yeah.
This, honestly, I saw it on paper, and sometimes you see on paper, and you're like, oh, it's going to be whack, and then the fights are crazy. This one kind of, looked like it was going to be whack, and it kind of...
Yeah, I've been getting more into UFC, now that I don't watch boxing as much. And I always expect big fights, even from, no names. But yesterday was kind of quiet, all around.
It shouldn't have been a pay-per-view.
No,
it
exactly.
was like a fight night.
Yeah,
it
should have been a fight night.
The next fight night is,
it's actually a pay-per-view.
They got too many good fighters to be putting on
Kobe
pay-per-views
Covington,
like
the next fight night is what? Kobe Covington versus Robbie Lawler. That's a hell of a main event.
Like that
yeah,
one.
that's a good, and that's a fight night. That's not even a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's a fight night. And but Chris Cyborg had a hell of a fight against Felicia Spencer. It went all 3 rounds.
That was one of her best fights.
There, yeah.
She was one of her toughest fights besides Amanda Nunes. Imagine she hasn't fought since December of last year when she fought against Amanda Nunes when she got knocked out. I believe it was in the first round, 51 seconds, if I'm not mistaken.
Like a minute.
Yeah, but
we saw that one together actually.
Speak on the mic.
Sorry.
we saw it together. But it was a hell of a fight. Felicia Spencer can take a punch.
But she cracked her in the beginning.
She cracked her in the beginning with the elbows.
Fight,
those elbows were lethal. She was throwing those back elbows where I was
she was
just
catching
surprised.
She was catching her. And she was taking hits, bro.
Man, definitely she was taking hits.
I always thought Cyborg was one of the strongest fighters for a female, and bro, that girl Felicia Spencer was taking hits. I was surprised, honestly.
Yeah, I know Felicia Spencer was taking hits. Now for the main event, a lot of people it was an underwhelming fight, but it was it was a Frankie Edgar fight. Frankie Edgar has the longest time in UFC history, so he's obviously a man that likes to go the distance. He's not usually known to be knocked out. So, obviously, it was just one of those strategical fights. Obviously, Max Holloway had the physical advantage. He's taller, and he's much more of a lengthier guy, lengthier arms.
I was kind of impressed with Frankie Edgar just because... Oh, sorry. I was saying I was impressed with Frankie Edgar just because, you saw what he did to Brian Ortega.
Yeah.
Where once they got into, the deeper fight, he just started, pouring it on.
Oh, absolutely.
And Ortega just, was eating it. But, Frankie Edgar is smaller, and he started pouring it on Frankie, and Frankie kind of, scrambled, kind of took a leg, threw him off. He didn't let him get, fully
absolutely.
into the rhythm.
Absolutely.
Whereas Brian Ortega just started taking a beat down, and he started to be
absolutely.
Oh, shit, somebody throwing the
I feel
towel or something.
from what I saw from the fight, which we were talking about it, Max Holloway was playing from, kind of outside. and he was trying
Absolutely.
to
Using
keep his
his length.
distance.
It was
Obviously, his
smart,
length.
though.
Yeah, he was smart. He
He's
so
knew,
using
much
his
bigger.
wingspan, definitely.
of course, he used his wingspan to his advantage. Frankie Edgar has to. We were telling him he has to get in there to be able to like.
He tried.
knock him
I mean,
out.
he did
Length is
try.
too
He
much.
did try. Just Max Holloway's too quick.
Yeah, he got like a couple takedowns, but he didn't do much with it, and then it was
He
like,
got stuffed a couple times, like
No, yeah.
more than twice. I think
I
he
mean,
got stuffed.
Max Holloway's a hell of a fighter. I mean, the fight against Dustin Poirier, which is the previous fight, which he did lose. I mean, it just shows that I mean, it's one of those fights that I thought Max Holloway was gonna win and Dustin Poirier was gonna lose, but Dustin Poirier is a hell of a fighter. It just shows the heart of Dustin Poirier. And now, future fights is gonna definitely be Khabib versus Dustin Poirier. That's a fight that
that's
I'm
a
waiting.
for sure thing.
That's it is.
It makes sense.
Because that's a for sure thing. I mean, who else is he gonna fight? Tony Ferguson's not gonna. Tony Ferguson
They've
has
been
to.
throwing. I mean, there's an argument.
Well,
for
that's
Tony
a dream
Ferguson.
fight. That's the
But
dream
The
fight.
problem is they tried to make it like twice already, and it fell apart. So they're
Well,
kinda
I mean,
like,
Tony Ferguson, I think he got
was
injured.
unfortunate,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was one of
but-
those unfortunate things. But I mean, hell, I mean, when you think about it, Khabib is well, besides Cormier, he is the best fighter in the world.
who do you think matches up like good with Khabib? Because I feel like Dustin Poirier, like he could win that fight, I
Right.
guess. But I think once he gets taken down, he's probably worse on the ground than Iaquinta and these other guys. They just got mauled. you
Oh
know?
no, definitely.
So I feel like it's just a matter of time.
But Dustin Poirier,
Poirier,
it's one of those things where look, Ben Askren just fought Masvidal a month ago, I believe, or a couple weeks ago.
Gua.
You already know what it is. MIA all day,
100%.
305 from Coral Way. You know what I'm saying?
La Carreta
Por la carreta, you feel me?
or Sergio's, one of the two.
You feel me? And so George Masvidal beat Ben Askren, but 9 out of 10 times Ben Askren will win that fight just because Ben Askren is a very good. He's an excellent wrestler and he can go the distance with his wrestling, but it's one of those things that Dustin Poirier has to use his strategy. He has to use his intelligence to try to hit him, knock him out early. Because if he tries to go the distance with Khabib, it's not gonna prove anything. It's definitely
I would kind of hope Khabib loses so we can see the McGregor Khabib too. When is that gonna happen?
Look, to be honest,
It's a bad match.
it's a bad matchup because McGregor cannot wrestle. We've seen this many times.
Could
Nate
be
Diaz,
a bad matchup, but fighting wise, you want to see it. Like you want to
Bro,
see those
you
two
wanna-
guys
you
fight
wanna-
each other.
I'm not gonna lie. I
on
wanna,
paper, yeah.
There's something to that Masvidal McGregor, bro.
Yeah,
I want to see that because they're like he's bigger than McGregor, but like I don't know, man. I think McGregor will go 170, and Masvidal's not like the biggest 170 pounder.
I think and
honestly,
McGregor's probably
he used
more
to fight at
talented.
155.
McGregor's probably more
What, didn't-
talented.
wait,
too,
they
though.
both used
when
to
he fought Nate Diaz, what was the weigh-in?
170.
170. So what's
both
the issue?
times. And he looked big, man.
He looked big.
Like Diaz was taller, but he looked bigger.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
looked like a little white
But
gorilla.
that was one of his hardest fights too. Like the
Well,
Diaz is just
but
a tough
remember, he
fight.
was supposed
Yeah.
to fight Dos Anjos. I think a couple weeks before that, but Dos Anjos got injured, so he had to
like,
move
broke
up.
his foot or
Yeah,
something.
so he had to move up to 170 because Nate Diaz was not coming down. Because he was already moving up from, I believe, with featherweight to lightweight.
Yeah.
And then to lightweight, he had to move up quickly to welterweight, which he did make the weigh-in. And he had a hell of a fight versus Nate Diaz. The first fight, obviously, Nate Diaz won. And the second fight, Conor McGregor just beat him. It was just flat out beat.
My thing is that fight, the weight thing, I don't think is such a big difference because they're not going to the ground in that fight. I don't see him and it's possible, but I don't see him and Masvidal like going to the ground.
Oh
and
no,
doing,
because
like, a
Masvidal
jiu-jitsu
doesn't like the ground. I feel like it's
he
a
has
perfect
ground game.
He does, but he doesn't like he prefers the hand-to-hand combat. We've seen that
Yeah,
many
they
times.
like to get ugly with their fighting, and I don't know. I like that fight. I think McGregor's style could probably take him apart, kind of like how Wonderboy did. But then again, it's
Ooh.
like Wonderboy's a lot taller.
Wonderboy's
uses
definitely a lot
like the
taller.
distance and the range better. So I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would say so. Conor McGregor, I mean, the question is, when is he going to fight? That's the biggest. Everybody knows that Conor McGregor is the biggest draw in sports, in combat sports.
I mean,
now.
everybody wants to fight them because they want to make money. You know what I mean?
Oh, no,
It's Red
absolutely.
Panty Night, bro.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
But it's not.
everybody wants to
But I'm
fight 'em.
speaking on the fan standpoint. He's just the most entertaining fighter. Like everybody, like when you see him fight, you're just like entertained. You're like, man, I hope he wins. Everybody wants him to win.
I mean, he's the most entertaining fighter in UFC history.
oh
right?
no,
Or-
he's probably
Is
the
he?
most entertaining fighter in combat sports since
You know,
Tyson.
You know why? Because of all the talking he does.
Oh,
Like, 'cause there's,
absolutely.
Like, an
He's
aspect to
charismatic.
when a guy
Of course.
talks
He's
that
a-
much shit
Yeah.
to another guy, and you see they physically get like angry.
They don't like each other.
They get fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, damn, like the stakes are getting higher and
Yeah,
higher. So
hell
when he
yeah.
fights, you're like, he's able to do like, this
Absolutely.
is business, and then it was all business. But the
I mean,
other guy is like, no, I'm
those
still
type
angry.
of fights for me are always the best fights though. Like when they actually don't like each other. I hate seeing them after the fights like dab it up and hug each other.
Yeah,
And
bro. Like
I mean, respect, okay, but like I like them hating each other, you know, before the fight starts. You know what I mean?
Like you're about to get into a fist fight with a guy. There's pretty much nothing you
Exactly.
can't say to a man.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, fuck your mother, you know, whatever. It's like, okay, we're gonna fight anyways. What are you
The,
gonna do about
the
it?
biggest joke ever was the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor.
no.
I was laughing my ass off because I knew, I was like, Mayweather's going to win this fight. This is just a
Hey, man,
boxer
they're-
versus
hey.
amateur.
There people believed McGregor could win.
Because people actually believe the hype. The problem is that people are like,
Dude, I believe the hype.
You believe
I lost
that?
money on that one.
because everyone
I was
believes
so mad,
it,
bro.
it happens because you McGregor has such a draw power that when he speaks and he says, yo, I'm going to win this fight, it was like Muhammad Ali back in the days. When he said he was going to win it, you believed it. You're like, yo, he's going to win. Yo, he's going to definitely beat Joe Frazier one. Yeah, and I mean, on the first fight.
It's that mouth, man.
It's that mouth. Yeah,
It's
definitely.
that mouth, man.
He has a mouthpiece
Pause.
on him. But you know what? Honestly, I think McGregor's best days are like way behind. Not because he doesn't have like the talent or whatever.
Yeah.
I just think once a guy makes like $100 million, like
I mean,
they said, man, where's your motivation? I
Yeah.
mean, give me $100 million. Whatever I
He-
loved doing before, like I'm probably like,
I don't know. I think the Khabib fight will happen eventually.
You think?
Bro,
I think it's
no, I don't.
I think the disrespect that's going on between them, it's personal, bro. Like
I
you
know
want to
it's
get
def-
into
it's
a ring.
definitely
You want to
personal.
beat the
Connor
fuck out of each
never really had a personal problem with him. Oh, he was saying all that stuff for show, but obviously Khabib took it personal because now Khabib comes from a place where, yo, you talk about my family, it's do or die. Like somebody has to die. Like and it's one of those. It's from that world. You get me?
I'm even down for the Nate Diaz Khabib too with a little beef I saw. I like that. I like seeing
I
the
like that
beef.
one too.
That one's actually will be a hell of a fight. I think that would be a great fight. Let's speak about the next 241, I believe, which is on August. Harry, you check that. Is it 241 on August 17th? Is Cormier? It's a hell of a card. You have Cormier versus Stipe. You have Yoel Romero versus Costa, and you have
Anthony Pettis versus Nate Diaz.
Anthony Pettis versus Nate Diaz. The return of Nate Diaz. Come on, Nate Diaz.
Let's hope he makes it there because I've kept hearing he signs fights and then like
He backs out.
and then he talks some shit and then it's not on and then.
Well, the thing is that Nate Diaz has no discipline, but he's such a draw that everyone's like, yo, man, just fight, bro. We just want you to fight, man.
This one will be a good fight for him
Yeah.
because this guy's gonna stand with him. He's not gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Wrestle dry.
Anthony
This-
Pettis is
This
good
is a
streak.
pay-per-view, you know what I mean? Like when you see these three fights, you want to pay to watch it because it's three big name, actually 4 big name fighters that are
See,
fighting.
that's
so
that's a pay per view.
That's a
pay-per-view
pay-per-view
worthy, I think.
for
No,
sure,
yeah, that's
100%.
definitely a pay-per-view worthy. I like the Cormier versus Stipe too. I think that's probably gonna set up. I think after that fight, either Daniel Cormier retires, or he's gonna end up fighting Jon Jones on the heavyweight division. That if Jon Jones accepts to move up, because
That
we all know.
fight's still kind of looming over him.
Absolutely, he
Which
wants
fight?
to
Which
Forever.
fight
You know
again? We
he
talking
thinks
about?
about him at night, like when you
fight?
asleep.
Cormier versus Jon Jones. Remember, Cormier has lost to Jon Jones twice or
2 times.
2 times.
Decision and then knockout.
Knockout was
You
the
want-
first one.
and
But
you-
there's
and-
that steroid thing that kind of clouds it.
Well, yeah,
picograms,
I
all
mean
that
that's
bullshit.
that's
I
what
mean, Jon Jones just has a big cloud over him for everything, I guess.
What'd you think about his last fight though?
His-
Against
I think
Santos.
I think. But is that he matched up well? If you notice, Jon Jones he always has trouble against people that are like nearly his height, nearly his weight. Remember, Gustafsson was one of the greatest light heavyweight matches of all time, if not the greatest, and that went the distance. And a lot of people can even say that Gustafsson actually beat Jon Jones because of how well Gustafsson was going against Jon Jones. And Jon Jones was so bad that he had to be hospitalized, and not only hospitalized, like he was nearly like he can barely walk.
But
It was-
apparently he was like partying the whole week before. He said he was like at the bar drinking and doing
he's
cocaine.
he's
like,
probably
some
well
week.
he
Didn't take it
probably
serious.
just I don't know, I think he just probably said that. I think he
But,
does.
But the second fight he smashed him pretty
Oh no, he
easily.
smashed him pretty easily. No, and on top of that, like Jon Jones is one of those guys that he athletically adapts to every fight. He knows, okay, I had trouble with the first fight. All right, watch the second fight. Jon Jones is a freak of nature. Jon Jones is what I would say the Barry Bonds of MMA. Why? Because he's very controversial. A lot of people don't like him because he's used steroids or whatever the case. But if it wasn't for all that, he'd probably be the greatest fighter of all time. And there's no doubt in my mind about that.
You know, the last fight though, I kind of felt like he could lose. You know what I mean?
Against Santos?
Like I kind of miss like the old Jon Jones where he was just grabbing guys and just like tossing them around like little rag dolls.
I
Doing
feel
crazy shit.
I mean, the guy did get hurt early in the fight, though. He had he ended up having 2 torn ACLs, like both his
Santos.
knees. Yeah, Santos.
That's what I'm saying, and it was still
It was
like,
still a
nah.
decent
Yeah, he
fight.
could barely walk after.
I mean,
fight.
after Jon Jones had to get carried out too. I
He
think
looked
Jon
like he
Jones
was-
might have
Jon
torn a
Jones was-
ligament
yeah.
too.
Yeah, he took some damage, like, and he got hurt a couple times and looked like,
Well,
remember where
it's-
he kind of backed up and ran
that was
away
definitely
and like
second,
reset, and it was like, oh shit, he got hurt.
definitely
Yeah.
second toughest fight.
Yeah,
That was-
I don't know. I read something that the doctor told Santos that I don't even know how he continued fighting. He had 2 torn ACLs on both knees. That's crazy, bro.
That's nuts, man.
He kept fighting and his knees kept buckling as he was fighting. I was like, wow, bro. And he's fighting one of the greatest fighters of all time. Like, that's crazy.
Not by
That
far.
was impressive.
By-
I didn't know he was that tough.
Yeah.
And he's like a super accomplished like kickboxer too, apparently. So
Well,
I
yeah.
understand why Jon Jones is
Well,
like wary.
the thing is, bro, when you think about Jon Jones, you think about a guy that if he would have been clean from this day on, you would have. I don't think UFC would have been all over Jon Jones. It wouldn't have been that much of a Conor McGregor. It would have been Jon Jones. When is Jon Jones gonna fight? Is Jon Jones gonna fight tomorrow? Because I feel like the last couple of years or the last year or two, obviously because of the whole controversy, he's actually had trouble having that draw as Conor McGregor as he once did before. Before everybody wanted to see Jon Jones fight. Jon Jones was the man of the hour. Every time you hear about him, oh, that's the guy.
He used to be more reckless though.
He-
Like, all right, like if I had to compare Santos to like a guy that Jon Jones fought in the
Right.
past that was like crazy.
What?
Remember Lyoto Machida when he was like
Right.
untouchable?
Oh yeah.
Jones fought him, and that was a totally like
Nah,
crazy fight.
Crazy fight. Yeah.
Ended up like, I remember he got caught with a punch, and it was like then he ended up choking him dead.
But Jon
pretty much.
Jones, that was early on in his career.
Now he's like more calmed down, but you can tell that he's kind of like more wary in his fights.
Yeah,
like
I
he's
think
got
like
a lot to lose.
he respects it more.
Kind of like
the
how
fight.
like remember how GSP was like crazy early in his
Right.
career and just like exciting, and then near the end like he was getting the W, but it was like
Well, it was more.
all
it was
decisions,
just
no
kinda
knockouts.
It was boring.
Boring.
It was, let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Well,
it was boring.
I think also GSP was getting older, and I feel like GSP
with
didn't
Jon
have the
Jones.
same. Well, Jon Jones, how old is he?
He's 31.
Hiro, check that for sure. If he's 31,
32.
32,
Yeah, I was looking at him.
he's
32.
Yeah.
he's 32.
I thought he was.
But
30 or 31.
and check. Or matter of fact, check GSP's age now, because I want to be
I'm
sure.
gonna say 37, 38 for GSP.
Yeah, and what's
He's
GSP's?
32? Oh shit.
I want to know what's GSP's age, because GSP's age, he's 38, and he stopped fighting what 2016, 2015.
I don't know, man. When I started watching UFC, GSP was
Boy,
he was already it was already towards the end of it. I didn't get to see like his prime,
Oh,
and
man.
I would just watch a
when
lot
he
of boring.
smashed Matt Hughes.
Matt
the
Hughes.
first-
Woo!
He fought him 3 times. He lost the first time, and the second 2 times was just like a destruction.
Wait, he lost the first time against Matt Hughes.
The first time he fought Matt Hughes.
Well,
he
Matt
got
Hughes is a
armbarred.
legend.
Yeah, that was like Matt Hughes in his like
Matt
super
Hughes, yeah,
prime,
yeah,
and GSP was like the up and coming.
Matt Hughes
guy.
was a good wrestler, if I remember correctly.
yeah.
He was an amazing
Oh, yeah.
wrestler.
He would take guys down, and just do whatever he wanted to him.
It sucks because Matt Hughes would. I think Matt Hughes would adapt it well in this era, because now we live in a more of a wrestling era. I feel like the ones that dominate the sport is Cormier, Khabib, Gillespie. I think that's his name. You know what I'm talking about?
Gillespie.
Gillespie.
Yeah. I've heard of this guy.
He's that guy that can
I
go
gotta be honest, I haven't
rounds.
seen him fight, but I keep hearing his name pop up.
He's
with
gonna
Khabib.
be the next big thing in my view. The next big thing.
Gillespie, and then like
You remember that
even
era?
the karate guys are kind of coming up. Who's that other
Which one?
Middle Eastern guy? Zabit or something. Zabit. I don't know. There's a bunch of like
Man,
sambo karate dudes that are like.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. You're
What about that Mexican dude? That's
Which
just
one?
lighting everybody up with
oh
kicks?
Henry Cejudo.
No. He knocked out BJ Penn. Recently, he like destroyed him in like a minute.
Jesus Christ! But BJ
I shouldn't
Penn,
even.
BJ Penn. Oh, BJ Penn's older than my grandma, bro.
Dude,
Come
he's
on.
still fighting.
No,
How many
man.
So
times-
they just booked him for another fight.
How many times did he fight GSP? Didn't he fight him like 3 or 4 times?
BJ Penn?
Yeah.
I think 2 or 3 times.
Huh?
Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah,
there
you're
you go.
Rodriguez.
That guy. He's like another karate guy.
Man, I'll tell you. You remember that era? It was Anderson Silva and GSP dominating. Anderson Silva was what the airbender. What's this guy's name?
Oh, style bender, bro.
The style bender. I said the airbender. Style bender.
The last airbender.
was his? How do you guys know Israel? What?
Israel Adesanya.
Adesanya. Yeah. You think he's the next Anderson Silva? You think he has that similar? He has a lot of similarities.
Man, the thing is that like, I think that Anderson Silva, there was like nobody like him, but now in Israel Adesanya's defense,
Right.
there's a lot of better guys than when Anderson Silva was tearing through everybody. Not to take anything away from
Right.
him, But yeah, he's pretty much like what Anderson Silva was back then today.
There's some beef with Jon Jones, right? Or am I
Yeah,
mistaken?
they're talking shit to each other.
Right? I saw that on
Well, I
Twitter
think
and stuff.
Israel's too small for him.
Nah,
I
but
don't think so, man. He's like
Nah.
6'3", 6'4".
and he's super young too. So
he looks just like Jon Jones. He's kind of bony. If he
What's-
wanted
what-
to, he could pack on a little weight.
Check his height. Israel.
He's young too.
I don't know. I don't want to pronounce his last name because I sound like an idiot.
Adesanya.
Adesanya.
I'm gonna say
I
it the
think
Cuban
he's
way.
from
He's 29.
Africa.
I thought he was younger, but he's 29.
Oh, he's 29.
He's
Okay.
29.
So he's just entering his like peak right now.
Yeah, he
I don't
just
want y'all to
turned
say that.
30. Yeah, you're right.
But
Yeah.
he's smooth, man. That guy. I mean, he went to war with Kevin Gastelum.
Well, Kevin Gastelum is a
like
hell of a
super
fighter.
underrated too.
Super underrated. I mean, right now, obviously, what UFC is looking for the guys that draw. That's why Masvidal is now he never used to cut promos before. Now he's WWE wrestler all of a sudden. I'm a big fan of Masvidal. I love Masvidal because I've been watching him since the street fighting days when he used to fight Ray.
Kimbo Slice, man.
Kimbo Slice he used to fight. He fought Ray twice.
George,
Yeah.
Kimbo versus we broke that dude's eye in half or whatever.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
You know
no,
that dude
the
lost
Kimbo.
the eye?
Kimbo was he did. Kimbo
Big
was
D.
an animal.
Big D.
Kimbo was not, the problem is that Kimbo was not disciplined like George Masvidal in the sport in MMA. He was not because the thing is Kimbo Slice doesn't have the same success as Masvidal. Masvidal is still in UFC. I think Kimbo Slice didn't even last in UFC.
No, man.
No,
Kimbo
you know
couldn't
he
get
was,
past the first round.
Kimbo was
Yeah.
first
No
trained
stamina.
by Bas Rutten.
By Bas Rutten.
And Bas Rutten stopped training him
I
because he
didn't
said
know
this guy isn't disciplined.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. And he
figured.
dumped him. And it was like, nah, I'm not training this guy because he didn't want to learn the ground.
No, yeah, because he always thought the
I mean,
fist
he
would
also
go.
got into UFC kind of old too.
Yeah,
He was in
older.
his mid 30s, I'm guessing, when he started UFC. So
Yeah.
that definitely affected him.
So
you know.
he's 6'4", and what's his weight?
His weigh-in right here,
Adesanya 6'4"?
Yeah,
185 according to this, but
yeah,
Man,
he
he
could
could-
be
I
a
mean,
hell
if
match.
bro, he can fight
He
Jon
can fight
Jones,
Jon
man.
Jones, bro.
And if they want to fight each other, they'll fight each other.
All right, so who do you guys think going against Kamaru Usman? Is it going to be Masvidal? Is it Kobe Covington? Or is it going to be once Kobe Covington beats Robbie Lawler, if he does, is going to be Kobe Covington versus Masvidal to go against Usman for the title? Who do you think?
I mean, Masvidal's looking for a title shot, so I don't think it's gonna be him. 'Cause-
Honestly, I think he's kind of earned
mean,
the title
opposite.
shot.
Masvidal? I bet
yeah,
he's
he's earned the title shot. I mean,
mean,
he's not. He's looking for McGregor. That's what I
Darren
meant.
Till?
He's looking for McGregor,
He
so
would
I don't
rather
know.
fight McGregor than...
He were- 'cause
Yeah,
he's
it's more
looking for the money.
more
I don't-
purse, man.
he's about his money.
Yeah,
But
of course.
I understand that, but I feel like if he wins the title, your money's going to come automatically. That means you're going to get 2 fights with high paid, definitely. That's no doubt.
Well, yeah, if you beat him, you become the champion. You're like,
and Usman's a hell of a fighter. Usman
But a
beat.
McGregor fight, that's like... That guy only fights once every blue moon.
Oh yeah,
And
now
you know
Conor.
you're
Yeah,
making millions. He's
Yeah.
not gonna get no millions for
Definitely.
a title fight with.
well, Dana says he's gonna fight early next year. So
I think
I wonder
versus
who they're gonna pick to fight McGregor. But he said that early next year he's gonna fight.
I don't think he has the hunger anymore, man.
he doesn't.
So after that Mayweather fight, that hunger left him. And
How
that's-
old is
that's-
Conor McGregor,
bro,
man?
'cause it's hard, bro. You got $100 million in the bank,
What happened?
and then somebody says, "All right, now you got to go get punched in the face every
Oh,
day
Leon Edwards.
for
That's a good
5-6
fight.
days a week." That's tough,
Yeah.
man.
Harold just told me
You
he's
train
gonna
like a freaking savage.
Masvidal versus Leon Edwards. That's gonna be a good fight. I like that
But
fight.
that's why I always thought. That's why I always think of the Khabib fight, because I feel like there's so much animosity there and beef that McGregor will train and will get ready to fight Khabib. You know what I mean?
I think, but it's just that he still has the same flaw that everybody is pointing it out to. He doesn't
Yeah, but
last the 5 rounds, and he has no wrestling.
I mean, he lasted some rounds with Nate Diaz, bro, but like Khabib is just took him to the ground.
But
McGregor's,
but it's the same problem he's always had. He just can't wrestle, and the 5 rounds has always been questionable because Nate Diaz. A lot of people say that Nate Diaz should have won part 2. I don't agree, but this is what a lot of people would say.
It was close.
It was a close fight, and it was a good fight. It was a very good fight.
I'm not mad at anybody who had Nate Diaz, but
I still think McGregor
could've-
won.
I had
both
McGregor
fights.
winning, but yeah.
I mean, McGregor is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, like the most controversial fighter as far as his charisma, because obviously his charisma. Look what happened with the whole bus incident with Khabib, and that might have, you know what, that might have just put him in a darker spot. I feel like it put
Yeah,
him
I
in
didn't
a
really
darker
like
spot.
the bus accident thing, man. I liked when he was just roasting,
Roasting,
fighters
yeah, and then he
nonstop.
wanted,
Yeah,
he
nothing
put
too
too
much
much
of
how
a
he
show.
did with Dustin Poirier before their fight.
Oh,
going to
yeah,
Hillbilly,
definitely.
and like nobody had ever done that to him, so he was like, he
Who
took
the
everything
fuck
personal.
This guy?
Yeah,
I saw like a little YouTube like behind the scenes or whatever, and Dustin Poirier was like, yeah,
that's true.
That's
That-
the best.
Dustin-
fucking
got
guy
it in
I
his
ever.
head. And he even admitted, he's like, bro, he got in my head for that fight completely. I ran out there like an idiot and just like
But
charged him.
you could tell Conor McGregor studied the greats. He studied the Mayweathers. He studied the Muhammad Ali. I don't even think Mayweather's that great of a talker. compared to Tyson and to Muhammad
He's
Ali,
not.
but he studied Muhammad Ali. He's admitted many times that look, Muhammad Ali is my favorite fighter of all time, and you could tell he studied that charisma, that trash
But
talk.
it's not only that, man. It's everything, bro. His weight, the way he gets in the
Yo,
ring,
absolutely.
his walk,
But that's
when
what
he wins. Like it's all about the
Muhammad
image
Ali
he created. Bro.
Muhammad
He's-
Ali used to do the same thing. Muhammad Ali got all that from Gorgeous George, a famous wrestler from back in the
Yeah.
60s, 50s, or 40s, something like that. And obviously Muhammad Ali practiced that. And I think Conor McGregor realized, look, in order for me to make money, I got to talk trash. I can't. There's no way I can make money and just be one of these silent dudes and just be like, oh, it's gonna be a great fight, and I hope the best man wins. No. Fuck that, man. Just say whatever you want to say. Just be like, yo, I think your hairline looks terrible and you look like LeBron James. Say some crap like that. I'll be saying that all day, every day. Speaking of which, I always got to put this,
Dude, remember what he did to Jose Aldo?
LeBron James.
You always got to speak about LeBron James every podcast.
Yeah.
What were you going to ask?
Oh, I was gonna say, remember what he did to Aldo before? Dude, he
Jose
pulled
Aldo.
his belt away from him. Dude, he was so inside Aldo's head.
No, and what's
And you saw it in the fight, man. He like.
do
was
you
like,
think 9 out of 10? That's like one of those Ben Askren versus Masvidal. You think 9 out of 10? You think Jose Aldo could have beaten Conor McGregor any other night?
No,
No, you think Conor McGregor was just, that was
it was
just his
his
time?
time.
It was just his
Aldo's
time?
kind of like
He was very slow, and his
he
injuries
was
were
slowing
catching up.
down. Like he used to be vicious, man. I don't know if you guys watch WEC.
No,
But
I
he
never
was
watched
just
it.
a vicious nightmare for guys. Like he'd run out there in like 8 seconds and just like blitz people. He would unleash like knees from hell, like
Right.
just most like vicious stuff. And then like he kind of slowed down the UFC, maybe because the competition went up.
All right, so who would you say is the greatest fighter? Greatest MMA fighter of all time? And you can put other sports into it. Or if you want, we'll make it easier. Who's the greatest UFC fighter of all time?
Greatest or favorite?
No, you could say, I mean, if you want to say Jon Jones, obviously everybody has the right to review.
You kind of have to like. He's kind of tainted, even though it's weird. I really think that he didn't cheat.
You really
I think that
so?
I think that whole steroids thing. I think that.
But
There's
why
a
w-
conspiracy, and I think that somebody tainted his
mean,
stuff. 'Cause
yeah.
there's just too many. Like he didn't like purely do steroids. They found like picograms.
But then he get caught multiple times with different things. Like
Yes.
I
It,
guess
it
like
was just weird
I
because
know
they,
he used to wild out a lot.
they said that the drugs
Yeah.
that he popped for are things that like only stay in your system for like a short amount of time, so that he would have had to take it like right before his fight in order
Right.
for it to pop, and it wouldn't have had any effect, so it wouldn't have made sense. Stuff
I,
like that.
I search his name on Google and it says pic shows Jon Jones and bro in strip club on night of alleged incident. He's always like in the news, bro. With
But you see, but
aside from
in the news again
steroid
now.
stuff, he's
the
just,
thing is, I do believe it because Jon Jones is just he's wilds out. Look, there's
But-
a picture on
but you look at his
TMZ.
body, he never looks
But
like a
what?
guy. Like I've
Oh.
seen guys on steroids, and they look like
Oh
their
no,
traps
yeah.
are made
But
out
I
of, like,
I just think
clay or
I just think that his
So,
metabolism is too
as
fast.
we previously reported,
Mm.
Jon is being investigated over allegations he slapped a woman's vagina
heard
during a
about
wild
this.
night out on April 19th.
Listen, man.
He's always on the news, dude. Always on the news. I mean,
When
he
it
is a
comes to
pro-
the
He's,
octagon,
he's
he is a
also a target
professional.
now, though. People
Well, I think
know
he- I
that
think
if
he
he
has
does
to do it.
anything, that they need to like
Of
target
course,
him.
All right,
but
so-
dude, you should be able to control yourself if you're one of the best fighters of all time. Like, bro,
So but
Anderson Silva's name was never on the news, and Anderson Silva for me is one of the greatest fighters of all time.
listen,
But
Anderson
he also doesn't speak English, and he lives in Brazil.
You're right.
when Anderson
On
Silva was
America.
taking
Different.
tips from Steven Seagal, I started cracking up because we all know Steven Seagal was one of those
Oh.
dudes that likes to lie, like, oh, I'll fight Bruce Lee and I'll win him in a one-on-one match, and we all
Right.
never seen
That's
Steven Seagal.
disrespectful.
He'd catch his arm and just
That's
Rip it
disrespectful.
apart.
No, man, it's just Steven Seagal, man. But look, Anderson. Right. So who would you have as the greatest fighter? That's all right. My question is that as in UFC, let's make this easy. UFC, because really any other sport people don't really watch it, or unless you're a fan. Who would you say? There's range. I could tell you Randy Couture. I'm gonna give you names: Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, obviously Royce Gracie. What's this guy's name? Dan
The
Severn.
problem is that there's guys that I think have better records than guys that are better than them, just because they stuck around longer than they
Right.
should
yeah. I
have.
wouldn't even go with record.
Just like if you go record,
yeah, don't
maybe
go
George
record.
St. Pierre might be the best. But I think
Oh,
I can
no.
name guys that in their prime beat George St. Pierre, like Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva.
I guess I gotta go Anderson Silva, Jon Jones, Fedor. Like those three kind of like bounce around. in my
Jon
head.
Jones, Fedor. Do you think I think it's that Fedor was one of those guys that stayed in the sport for too long.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
When his record was like unstoppable,
yeah, I
he just
remember.
had they had like a little magic
Yeah, no,
with
and
them. I
I
don't
mean, and he never joined the UFC sport, which was one of those tragedies where we would have loved to see Fedor in his prime in UFC. And would he have dominated the heavyweight? Who knows? The heavyweight division during the older times were great. I mean, you had Randy Couture, you had what's this guy's name?
Dude, Cain Velasquez. If it
Cain
wasn't
Velasquez,
for injuries,
Junior
oof,
Santos,
oof,
Cain Velasquez.
he was unstoppable.
He was
man.
unstoppable. No, definitely. Look. I was gonna get to this point before we have 5 minutes left. So, but before the podcast ends, I wanted to get to this point. Who, for Brock Lesnar, obviously he started the sport late. Do you think if he would have started, because he's a freak of nature, his body's build, his length, do you think if he would have started in MMA, would he have been effective? Would he have been probably the greatest heavyweight of all time? Because he really, with no experience, he defeated Couture, and he defeated, what's this guy's name? Frank Mir. And the guy didn't have that much experience. The guy's a hell of a... Do you think he would have been You think he would have been one of the greatest heavyweight fighters of all time?
If he started like early with MMA instead of WWE, maybe.
He could have been, yeah.
The thing is, though, his build was kind of not really meant for striking. Because you saw he looked he looked like a giant bulldog.
He's too big, like almost
he
too
had
big.
like that wrestling genetics is in there, but I don't know how good his striking would ever have been. I can't imagine him head kicking a guy or.
But no, I
Yeah.
agree. But like, but really the kicking is not really too formidable in the heavyweight division. You don't see unless Arlovsky obviously is the kicking machine, but you don't see too many guys that kick in heavyweight. I think for his stature, remember, especially nowadays where wrestling is super effective.
Used to be Mirko
Crow Cop.
Antonio Hardonk. I don't know if you remember that guy.
No.
He was supposed to be like the nastiest.
I mean, every time I watch Brock Lesnar fight, I was waiting for an F5.
Yeah, it's just
Like,
the
it just didn't
wrestling-
happen.
The
It was just-
wrestling trumped everybody.
Yeah.
Man,
But,
exactly.
I don't
I
know.
think he was too famous in wrestling to become anything in like UFC. Like he was
well, he
he
did
was the
become
biggest-
something.
he was a big. I mean, he did. Yeah, he had the belt, right? He didn't he win a championship? Didn't he have the belt at a certain
Yeah,
point?
he did. He won the UFC heavyweight championship.
Yeah,
I feel like his striking would have never got there.
You think so?
Really.
That's
He
where
had
he was
those
weak.
huge
That's where he was
hands.
weak though. But his striking was weak though.
But you see, we would have had my man right here in UFC.
And his name is John Cena.
That's the greatest right there, ladies. That's the greatest of all time right there. But
Still
nevertheless,
waiting for him to cross over.
oh, you
too
never
late
know.
For John Cena.
You never know. I think Dwayne the Johnson would have been a great UFC fighter.
my god!
I feel like if he would have,
yeah.
and with his charisma,
I wish
I wish. Yeah, and he's from Miami.
that would have been like
We'd be watching
the
McGregor,
original
John Cena
McGregor.
right
Yeah,
Yeah, the original McGregor, the Samoan McGregor. Nevertheless, I got a PSA before we wrap this thing up. So me and Kevin and I did a poll, and Kevin's question was a little bit different than mine. My question was, who is the current best NBA player? I know we're getting a little off topic from the MMA, but I have to, because I'm gonna wrap this up with the PSA. Who is the current best NBA player in the NBA? Right. Most people, I think 60% voted for LeBron James. It was LeBron
on mine.
versus
It was
Kawhi.
79-21. Cool. I mean LeBron.
Oh, Lord. Look, I don't know why. The guy that won the championship should be the best player. That's just simple as that. The guy that didn't take him to the playoffs should not be the best player. And the fact is that how he corrupted Lonzo Ball. I know you got a lot to say, but we'll talk about it after the Hyro, after the podcast, Hyro. Hold on.
Go LeBron James.
I personally think that there's no way you can say LeBron James is the current best NBA player. Why? Because the fact is that, yes, he scored probably the highest average in offense in his stats history, but his defense didn't speak volumes. And the fact is that he didn't take his team to the playoffs. And the fact is that he's taken his team to the playoffs with worse players than what he has currently and what he had in the Lakers
Like I
last
said,
year.
man,
Hold on.
you gotta give
Remember
him-
this though. When LeBron got hurt, they
Yeah,
were number
no.
3.
But he didn't
in
even
the
make it to the
West.
AFC. I would understand if he made it to
Hey man,
Bro, but
AFC.
he was already in a sunken
No,
boat
but-
trying to throw the
But the
water
thing is
out.
that what got me upset is that when he said, "Oh, playoff mode, LeBron is being turned on," and they lost 8 games in a row.
he was just trying to be cool.
you
But
No,
gotta
man.
give
It
him
was-
1 year.
No, you can't give 1 year because if you want to be the greatest of all time,
Hey,
look,
we
you
kept-
want to be the greatest of all time, and you want to be compared to Jordan. There's no breaks. Okay, you don't give.
What do you mean? Jordan had
Wait,
plenty
I
of
agree.
breaks. I
Jordan
mean,
was
he won.
better
He
than
won
LeBron.
he won 3, retired for 2 years, then won 3 more.
Okay, then
There
LeBron
was
should have
plenty of
retired.
breaks.
Then LeBron should have retired. Then LeBron should have kept his mouth.
Retired? Why? He wants to be in the NBA,
The
bro.
question
Well,
is he
but
better
look-
than Kawhi
but-
right now?
Yeah.
He is
Jordan-
better than
Jordan
Kawhi.
trumps
Kawhi is
LeBron.
better than LeBron
100%.
James. Kawhi won the championship. How are we arguing this? Giannis is better than Kawhi. Giannis actually took his
But
team.
there's no
to
way
the
you
honestly,
could tell me
his
Kawhi is
You want to argue
overall better than LeBron just because he didn't take his team to the playoffs? That's not a good argument.
Absolutely, is an argument. The best player last season.
But you're talking
was
about
the player.
so what did he do before that? Before this year, what did
but you
LeBron do?
honestly
Okay, but
lucked
you
out
want
in
to
the
talk about the
finals,
best
bro.
player currently. Now you want to talk about the best player, one of the greatest players of all time. You're not going
If
to take away
there's
LeBron
a
from that
player in the
conversation.
NBA that previously took his team 8 straight times to the finals,
Nine-
he's still the best player in the NBA.
Okay, but
he took his team 8 straight
all right,
times.
but
to
like
the
I
finals.
said, right.
And it's not like his stats went down or he looked bad.
No, but his defense was
He's
terrible.
almost there.
He
He's almost
wasn't
there.
even an MVP
But-
candidate after when he came back. He wasn't even an MVP candidate.
What was
I can
Kawhi's
guarantee
stats?
you
Like
he's gonna be an
25
MVP
and like
candidate
5
next
and
year.
5?
Huh?
It wasn't
He's going to
even
be
that
an MVP
crazy.
candidate next year.
Well, we'll see about that.
100%.
Look, the best current NBA player is the one that takes the win. Is either that takes his team to the championship. I've always said it. Look, and I give it.
And I
yeah.
agree, and I
Kawhi
agree.
got
And LeBron
lucky.
did that 8 straight times. So
Okay,
like 8
but-
triumphs, one time that the guy take.
Okay, but that's not fair. So you're basically telling me. So if I took my team to the championship, I can't be the best player because LeBron's still the best, even though he didn't take his team to the playoffs.
Yes,
That's the most
Yo,
ridiculous
you
thing ever.
won the championship, but LeBron is still the best.
He wasn't even the best. He wasn't even considered for MVP, for the top 5 MVP.
He's still considered.
Honestly, the
what is
other teams
considered-
weren't that
Are-
good this year.
is he considered?
He really
But the
weren't.
fact is that he couldn't even take it to 8th seed. The Lakers were one of the worst teams. They were again they were.
Dude, they're in the
And
West.
I agree. They
Everybody's
probably
in the
should have
West.
made the playoffs. I don't agree. I mean, I
Exactly.
don't agree that he should have just given the
James
year up. and
Harden
stuff,
was a
but,
better player than LeBron last
bro,
year.
after a certain
But he was
point
dealing
when
with
you
an injury for the first time in his
No,
career.
I agree.
Ever.
I agree. The injury.
First time we ever seen him
I
hurt
agree.
like
The
that.
injury derailed him. But that's one of those things that if Dwayne Wade got injured, if Dwayne didn't get injured, he would probably be the greatest player of all time. But that you can't. Once the injury happens, it happens. You have to consider other people for being
True,
the best
but
player.
you got to consider that all
Speaking
those
of which.
injuries on the Warriors, everybody else, Kawhi Leonard had like the easiest path ever. That
No.
LeBron never got to play it. Bro, he had to go against that Spurs team
No.
with Kawhi on it.
Oh wait,
He had
no.
to go against-
I don't
go
say it's
through
the
Golden
easiest
State
path ever
Warriors,
because
bro.
definitely the 76ers
Milwaukee
are
Bucks,
not a
that was
bad.
it.
The Bucks, the
The
76ers are good
76ers
too.
made a
He-
million changes like near the end
Okay,
of the
but look
season.
at
They
but
were
look,
not
they went
gelling
to
at all.
Game 7. It was not an easy path. Yes, I agree. The East
They
is a
were
lot
weird,
easier than
bro.
the West, but the best 2 teams that he had to go against, and not only that. Yes, people want to talk about they went against an injured Golden State. Correct. They did go against an injured Golden State, but then again, he beat that. He
and
beat
watered down
he-
Golden State. They lost a lot. of
Okay,
their
but
veteran
look, check
players
this
from
out.
last
Check
year.
this out. LeBron James beat the very same Golden State that had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green, right? Obviously, Klay Thompson got
Prime,
injured,
prime.
but Steph Curry's not prime. Steph Curry had one of his best seasons last
Man,
year.
you know what this does? This
No.
hypes me up for
Draymond-
next year because
Dude,
that
Draymond-
Clippers
We're gonna-
Lakers matchup is
All
gonna
right,
be
so-
great to watch.
okay,
I'm gonna be on LeBron's side just because you're on Kawhi's side. So if we're gonna keep doing these podcasts, I'm gonna be a LeBron
All right,
fan
that-
again, man. It's
no,
gonna happen.
it's the thing is that
LeBron's
I'm buying a
great.
I
LeBron
don't-
jersey.
I don't-
He's buying a
more
LeBron
tools.
jersey.
I
He's got
don't
more
mind.
tools than
I don't
Kawhi.
mind the LeBron. I don't mind the LeBron.
He looks
fans.
good in
I don't,
purple and gold
I don't mind
too.
the LeBron fans, but you got to hold them accountable. I don't mind. Like I don't mind. I bro. Like I love LeBron. Like I love LeBron in the Heat. LeBron in the Heat was the greatest player of all time. But obviously, when you don't make your team to the playoffs, you can't be considered the best player in that season. It's just
so when
impossible.
Michael Jordan, after he three-peated the second time and he whatever happened, I don't know if he made the playoffs or whatever happened the
no.
year after that. He's not the greatest anymore because he didn't take his team to the finals.
No,
That's not how it
But
works.
look,
technically,
hold
Giannis
up,
won MVP.
hold up. The year he returned mid-season. Obviously, he took it to the team to the playoffs. And I think what happened was that I think he got injured and no, not even injured. I'm sorry. They lost against the Magic. They lost against the Magic. The Magic went to the finals and got schooled by Hakeem
Little kid in
Olajuwon.
McDonald's.
That year,
The cup.
Hakeem Olajuwon was the best player.
When he retired, the Bulls still made it to the
No, they made it. And exactly, they made it. Okay, still, but look, that's what I'm saying. They made it to the playoffs, but did they win the championship? No. That's the whole question. Now, the whole thing. What I was gonna tell you that year that he lost against the Magic. The one that won the championship that year was Hakeem Olajuwon, and he was the best player that season. Even though Michael Jordan came back, the best player that year was Hakeem Olajuwon. He won the Finals MVP. He schooled Shaq, and we all saw that. Well, not we all, because we were too young for that. But nevertheless, most of you fans or old school fans saw that. But nevertheless, that's all we have for today. We went a little bit over the time, but we had to talk about this. I appreciate you guys for coming in, Kevin. I appreciate you coming in, my man,
back.
Armando.
Oh man, thanks for having me.
And the way we're going to send this off is my man right here.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
James.
And we are out.